Wicked, 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 wicked. Wicked tones, you know.
The rear delt movement people can do. Like instead of, fuck, that's heavy. Fuck that. Overshot on that one. It can be like off-seated and hunched. I do a lot of like leaning forward and throwing out on delts like this. You can take that same angle and fight your head to stay up and tip that dumbbell forward. So don't hold your dumbbell flat, literally point it towards the ground. So we're trying to like, imagine we're scraping the bottom, like the edge of this dumbbell along the ground. That's the angle we're trying to take. We're not trying to push up. I'm trying to stay low in my arms. I'm trying to just rock out like I'm pointing down. I'm just spreading. It's gonna move up naturally because it can't go straight across. It's almost impossible. But we're trying to keep this spreading feeling. Find your angle, whether it's a little back. My angle is like pretty much straight across the line coming out. And just keep your head up so you don't start doing this and ducking. The more you keep your head pulled up, it will keep your chest postured and your arms will sink in front of you. So I have no tension in my traps. I can just push out on rear delt. So I'm literally like hands like this and drawing like a pointed finger out. You won't see that anywhere. It's like people should, like I encourage people to fuck with like their hand placement, their hand angle, like what area of the hand they're putting more pressure on, whether it be like your index finger or more back on your palm, on any type of movement. People should be fucking with that and doing that because it helps you find the angle that's proper for you. The angle that's proper for me, not gonna be the same for you. Could be, but it might be like 2 or 3 degrees off. When I'm doing that, if I spread straight across, I feel my rear delts more. You might feel it more pushing out in front of you more, or like pulling behind you a bit more. Just gotta find the angle that works for you and just go on that angle, as opposed to like, we put the dumbbell here and then we open up. It's like, no, well, you can take the, like I can take the root of this, like I'm starting here, my stretched out, my arms are lengthened, but I don't want to, if I can't find the angle and it feels tense here pushing across, okay, well now I'm gonna push down. So I'm more locked down in my shoulder, in the girdle of my shoulder, and able to spread. It's the same spreading as we're doing here. It's just less tension and trap and shoulder blades and everything's fucking engaged. Here I can push, I can drive down through body and push out on hands. So again, my pressure here isn't my hand, it's not my hands opening, it's literally this knuckle and this thumb holding and spreading across. So if I don't even need these fingers, they're just grabbed on, they look like I'm holding, but I'm literally spreading down. So I'm sweeping across on that tension that's on this knuckle. So the pressure of my cord is there. It's not just, and that's the difference. That's another point of getting into, there's a difference between lifting weights and building, right? What we get into all the time. Like if you see someone doing this, and it's not a knock on them, you've just never been shown how to do it properly, or you're just not connecting, or you think like the majority of people that just doing the movement elicits results. So this is a rear delt movement. So I just go, when I just pull across, it's like, that's a lifter. You're just lifting weights and hoping that the lifting is going to be like, oh, I got my rear delts. It's like, whereas someone who understands bodybuilding or understands like really locking on muscle, they get the tension down on the cord, they lock into their rear delt and push their arms out in front of them, and then they move at the tension on their hands and rear delt. That's a hell of a lot different looking than, so don't be a lifter. Think about what you're doing. Like put yourself in the right positions to feel things and understand tension and put the tension where you want it to be, right? You'll know you're doing this right if you look at my traps in the mirror or wherever you're looking straight ahead. If you start seeing this, if my first movement is this, and I get tense, that's wrong. I want my traps to be forced down and I want to be able to break. So I want to break here. I don't want to push out here. I want to be sunken here and literally break my arm. So my trap never moves from its position I'm just pushing out on my arm. I'm not going, if you see this jump, it's wrong. It's not wrong, it's just not as efficient. And you're just gonna get trapped. If you're trying to hit rear delts, that's not really very productive, is it? There's just so many people. This is like not directed at anyone in specific who might be watching this video and taking notes. There's so many people out there that just lift weights and don't connect, don't like understand that like there's more to it than that. Just like we said in the past, I've said in the past, like just swinging a golf club, I can go swing one. I'm shit at golf. I have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to golf. Like, look at me. I don't look like I can golf, and I definitely can't. So it's the same thing with hockey. It's like so much goes into the motion of a slap shot to like, in baseball, anything you can think of, so much goes into those just common motions, whether it's a baseball bat swinging, a golf club swinging, a pitcher throwing a ball. All this stuff is like a sequence of movements, and you have to understand that like it's not as simple as just doing it. There's like, you have to get yourself in positions, understand like where force is coming from. Whether you're a pitcher, like you're stepping back to the mound, you're moving and you're coming off your back foot and you're driving to your front foot, and the hip rotates and the shoulder rolls around and throws the ball, right? The velocity of the throw doesn't come from the arm flick. It comes from the drive of the hip out and moving through all that momentum and force moving forward. The arm is the last thing to throw. With all that pent up momentum, it lets go of the baseball, right? It's the same thing with a golf swing. It's not like I just go puck and hit it. Like I have to generate force through my hips, like down through my back foot and then move through my front. That's why everyone toes off, right? So it's not as simple as that. So stop trying to make bodybuilding, not only bodybuilding, lifting weights like that. So if you're someone that wants a physique that they're proud of and that looks good and flows, isn't all blocky and stiff and weird looking, you have to lift in a manner that gives you that physique. You can't just expect to be Mr. Stiffy or Mrs. Stiffy walking around and think that like, oh, when I step on stage or when I go to the beach in the summer or whatever it is I'm getting ready for my wedding, whatever it might be, I don't want to look like fucking Frankenstein. Well, don't lift like Frankenstein. Like try being a little smoother. It's the same thing if you're learning to dance, right? It's like you get taught how to dance, whether it's like salsa or these like very intricate dances. Like, yes, it starts off very robotic and these people are moving, but once it becomes a finished product, it's a constant flow of like movement through like different positions and stuff. So you don't stop and think like, oh, now I got to turn. Now I have to like dip my foot back. It's like, no, it just becomes programmed. So the more efficient you move more often, the body will just adapt and do so, right? We're gonna add an exercise to the list of, holy shit, I can't even do this, to the stupid exercises of all time lift. So these people that do these pullovers and go like this, down, or they arc around and they're like pulling behind their body. You know what I'm talking about?
I've done it.
Like they're like this.
Yep.
It's like literally probably one of the worst fucking back movements you can do. Because you have like, first of all, especially on this one, you have no leverage. So the cable's over here and I'm trying to pull a cable that moves straight down on an arc. Because it doesn't want to go there. It wants to come back to this line. Because this is the most efficient line of movement for it, right? Not out here, right? So it's like these people lean and they pull over here. It's not so much that it's bad in the sense that if you were like understanding how to lock on lat and rocking around, you'd probably only get to about there and rock, and your arm would be in front of you. But these people literally sit there. I've seen like 20 videos on the internet in the last like 2 days. I don't know, I think my phone's trying to piss me off. But it's like literally this, like they sit here and they stay up tall and then they just pull. It's just the act of pulling this to here. Like it's literally cramping my fucking oblique. So it's like, there's so many better options. I understand people think that they're getting some type of stretch, but like the plane of your elbow is not gonna even allow lat to open up, because my lat doesn't really open on this plane. It's more shoulder. Of course my lat's open because my arm's up, but my lat isn't engaged till my elbow's in front of my shoulder. Right? So I can't, if I had a true arc, like the machines on the other side, that move on this line of coming around, and they literally move on that line, that's fine, but this isn't it. So I understand people have to improvise and do stuff because not every gym has the machines this gym has or higher end gyms have. So it's like, why don't you just substitute that for you just doing a one arm, just finding leverage on the cable, so finding a one arm, and just rocking down here. Because this is a better line, it's a better path of movement for back and lat than pulling around your body could ever be. So you just find lat here, pull your head back away from it, tuck shoulders down, and just rock. You can still pull out and around a bit, but at least here you have leverage because you're underneath the cord. I'm not trying to pull the cord out to the fucking wall over here. Not to mention that this position of being in the end position here, where a lot of people crunch into it, like a lot of women are guilty of this. I don't see many men doing this exercise for some reason. I think like certain coaches are like putting it in women's programs and not knowing like what the fuck they're talking about. So they'll be like all loosey, like noodle armed, and be like, and pulling this thing down and like maybe twisting at the bottom or whatever. It's like, yeah, you're going to elicit some type of feeling in your back, but it's not anything that's worth a shit. Do you know what I mean? So just find better angles and allow yourself to pull on a more efficient line. You're better off putting like a fucking rope on here and just doing a 2-arm pull, flexing back, than doing something like that.